Hello, child of God. That's what a guy said to me when I was walking down the street in Monterey, California, a good 25 years ago. The guy's name was Bill Drake. He was a science fiction writer and a mathematician, and he studied what's called Christian science. And he called out to me from a Christian science reading room. Now, I was raised in such a way that science was opposed to Christianity. And if you know anything about Christian science, it's not the science the way you normally think about it. But this isn't actually about Christian science. This is about people choosing to see each other in the highest possible light and what that means for how you see the world and what it means to see people in a less than ideal light. So, Bill, unbeknownst to him at the time, really called me into myself when he said, "Hello, child of God." Because in that season when I met him, I was actually trying to figure out where I fit in my Christianity because my church in Arizona had told me that I wasn't a Christian and I was struggling with that. And then when I moved to California, I tried to start going to another church. And the first Sunday there, I was wearing this kind of like collarless black shirt. And the people so happened to think that I was a minister, even though they had never seen me in life. That collarless shirt made them initially think that I was a minister. And so they grabbed me when I walked into the church and said, "Come with me, brother," and took me to the front of the church service and sat me with these kind of like bishopy looking dudes. And I was like, why the heck did they have me sitting here? And then I realized it was because I had this collarless shirt on. And I said, oh, well, this is interesting. So they had this preacher up here talking, and the first thing he started to talk about was women's place in the ministry. And he basically was putting women down. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of this crap. So I got up and I walked out. And everybody was looking at me and trying to figure out what was going on. They were like, "Why is this pastor leaving?" But little they know, I was just a heretic in the making. Any rate, so I left and said, you know what, I'm done with this. But I didn't really know where I fit because my whole identity was in trying to be a super Christian. So I didn't know where I was doing with myself. And I kind of spent a lot of time by myself, just kind of living life. And then here comes Bill out of nowhere, just calling me a child of God, not knowing anything about me. And he continued to pursue a relationship with me, and we became friends. And I learned a lot about him and the way that he saw the world, and he learned some things about mine. And he told me that never think of myself as less than. And he kind of gave me some insights into how the church, whether it intended to or not, uses negative ideas and shame and guilt in order to create what we would call social cohesion. So they try to force people into bonding through shame and guilt. And so I decided I would never do that again, to the best of my ability. And so that shifted the way I pursue things. I was already not like that, but I knew it was a part of the culture and the way that we articulated ourselves. And I didn't say anything, but I didn't uh, say something on the other end of the spectrum. So I just got quiet, which was a good thing for me because it was through that quiet that I started to really connect with the deeper knowing of who I am as a being and as a soul, and also respecting who other people are. So, putting that to the side, there's a reason why the Bible says, "Be still and know that I'm God." It's because only in the stillness and the silence can we really be present with what is. Usually, our mouth and our minds and all these things are moving and moving and moving, and there's all this chaotic energy just ping ponging all over the place. People with their different ideas of who we should be. We compare ourselves to other people. We tear ourselves down if we don't think we match whatever pursuits or ideals that our society tells us we're supposed to match. We put ourselves through all sorts of things, and that's not really what we're here for. We're really here to know ourselves as we are known. And I decided a long time ago that I wanted to know myself as I'm known, no matter what the cost was, whether I had to give things up, try things I never tried before, but I really wanted to know myself as I was known, believing that there's this divine mind that does know all things as they are, knows all things as their highest potential and their highest capacity. And I wanted to know what that was. And so I had to begin the process of letting a lot of things go so that I could become more acquainted with the essence of who I am. So I've been on this journey for years and years trying to learn how to articulate this inner knowing, this thing that I know when I'm quiet and when I'm still. But I wanted to be able to use words in a way that points us to silence. I wanted to use my emotion in a way that points us to stillness and invites us to connect with this deeper knowing. But one of the things I've learned recently is that sometimes you can't really see the light until you really understand the dark. And that's why I call this piece Dark Enlightenment. Um, the thing that has been coming up for me lately is that in the course of this growth and this development and all these things that I've been a part of, I've been slow to let go of people and relationships that I know are not consistent with the person that I choose to be. And the reason why I did that was because I didn't want folks to think that I thought less of them. I didn't want folks to think that I thought I was better than them. I just wanted to be on my journey, but I also wanted to stay in connection and relationship with certain people, unless they were really, really in direct opposition to what it is that I was trying to pursue. But what ended up happening was in the past, I guess, since the Golden Escalator incident, I've it has become abundantly clear for me that there are many people who I didn't know, but now do know, were and have probably always been diametrically opposed to the growth that I choose to have in my life. And because of that attachment to some of those people, I've kind of, I don't want to use the word suffer and I don't want to use the word struggle, but there's been tension, let's say, as I've been ripping myself away from these ideas and notions that these people hold. And I've also had some, I don't want to say guilt, but I'm going to say guilt for um, having um, been a part of those systems that I know have harmed people. Even though I wasn't a perpetrator of those things and even got kicked out because I didn't want to participate in some of the things that some of those folks are supporting now, I still was there. And I still kind of made excuses for people because I thought, well, they've been taught this thing. But now, through the darkness of this season, I've been able to actually see more clearly who is in alignment with the person that I want to be and who isn't. And so that's why I call it like dark enlightenment. I've also come to understand that, you know, these ideas of loving everybody. I do love everybody. I believe. I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure I love everybody. And some of my anger and frustration comes from this persistent belief that people can be better. But just because people can be better doesn't mean that they will be better. And that is another thing I've learned from the dark enlightenment is that some people are so attached to the harm cycles that they're a part of. Like we see these people that are clearly hypocritical. We see these people who will call people PDFs, as you say, PDF files, um, and then find out that they're PDF files. You'll see people accusing people of voter tampering or messing with elections, and then you find out that they are the people that's doing that. All these very hypocritical people who I think don't even have a capacity for reflection. So all they can do is project because they see themselves on everything that's around them. They look at the world and all they see is themselves. And they think, well, if I'm doing this, everybody else is doing this. And these are very, I don't know what to call them, dangerous, because I do understand that at a soul level, if I'm operating from the highest level of my potential and the person that I choose to be, if I'm operating for the light from the light, you can't project onto light. That's just how it is. If you need darkness to project, so you like if you have a movie, right? You can't show a movie in a very well lit up room because the light dissolves the projection. And so I'm choosing to live from the light so that projections dissolve in my presence. That's what I'm building up and working towards, because I just don't want to have any place for that. And if people choose to be projectors, and they want to project upon who they think I am, some negative things that are not anything to do with me, then I will just ignore their projections. By I don't even have to ignore it. If I am light, if I am operating from consciousness, if I am operating from love, then none of those things can actually fundamentally touch the person that I truly am. And I think that's true for all of us. And so that's the direction that I'm continually pursuing. At the same time, I'm aware that people will make that effort. And what I've been taking this next kind of tier is I realize that there's some people who are so attached, having been through my own series of attachment and realized, the slow process of letting folks and institutions and ideas and thoughts go so that there's only room for the light and the love and the uh, radiation of well-being to all people. In the pursuit of that, I've come to realize that there's probably, at a time, there was a time where no one probably could have talked to me and told me to think differently. That's probably not true, because I always have listened to other people. I can't not listen to other people. That's why I've changed so much over the years. Is if somebody says something that makes sense, I do listen, because I feel like if my ideas can't hold up to the critique or the um, ideas of other folks, then they're not even mine anyway. And it's good for me to know that. But a lot of people, so I can't naturally 100% say that it was hard for me to let go. But I could say, well, I'll use my ex-wife for example. She pretty much treated me like crap, but I stuck with her for a long time, even though people told me that I probably should be done with her when they realized how she was being towards me. But I didn't, because I believed that she really could do better if she just had better information or realized like I wasn't going to be her dad, which was her biggest fear. But there was really nothing I could do. But when people told me that, I didn't listen. So I guess if you use that as an analogy, there's people who, no matter what you tell them, no matter what truth you present to them, whatever facts you say to them, they're not going to listen. They're going to continue to pursue the courses that they're pursuing because of their fears, their desire to survive, and all those other things. And the dark season that we're in has really shown me that in a very profound way, both in showing me where I have some of that in me that I'm in the process of letting go, but also showing me, like, I mean, there's the fact that there's people who voted for the Scredo 3 times in a row and have witnessed what this dude is bringing to the world and still think he's awesome, is either they're not paying attention and have no access to information, which I guess you can't blame them, but I don't know. But if they hang out with anybody, watch the news, or think, and they still are pursuing this dude, then there's literally nothing that I can say or do to change their mind. So why put energy towards that? And even looking at the things that are happening in the Middle East right now and just all the lies, I mean, it's so obvious. But people just are attached for whatever reasons. And I think the number one reason, as I've said many times before, is the fear of death. And they think that somehow this person's going to keep them safe. And I had to learn to feel sorry for people like that, but also to not invest energy into them. And the darkness of this time has helped me see that some people are just going to stay that way no matter what, and they're going to die in their illusion. And I have to allow them, no matter who they are, no matter how long I've known them, no matter how much they're friends or whatever, or were friends. Maybe they never were friends, who knows? And another thing that's come out of this dark enlightenment is like so many scripture passages that I understood in my mind but didn't 100% understand have only been illuminated because of this darkness. Like when Jesus was like, don't call anybody your father, hate your family, kick the dust off your feet, uh, don't put new wine in old wineskins. So many of them really, really, really make sense now in because of the darkness around me, because of trying to do some of those things relationally. Even when he cursed the fig tree and cursed when the fig tree didn't bear fruit, and he cursed it that it would shriveled up and never was able to bear fruit again, which I used to think was kind of weird, but now I understand that too. I understand the ideas of binding what you bind on earth, um, you bind in heaven. When you loose on earth, you loose in heaven, and all these other things that I understood them, or I thought I understood them, but in this season of darkness and wrestling with the darkness and everything like that, I've come to really embody those things. And in that way, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for the Scredo and for him showing me who the tares are, who the wheat are, or who the goats are, and who the sheep are. All those things. Other things that I kind of didn't, I understood sort of, but didn't really. But now I do. And I'm so grateful for that because I have, for the most of my life, been trying to pursue truth. So I'm really grateful for this season to show me that. And then I guess lastly, I'd say that I'm really humbled by my inability to um, teach people. And that might sound weird, but I realize that I can't teach anybody anything. And I like, even when I talk or write these things or whatever, I'm doing it because it's the flowering of my spirit just coming out of me. I just like have to. It's like breathing. Like if I take a breath in, I have to breathe out. If I take in this information, I have to put that information back out. It's just a cycle of life. But I don't feel like I can teach anybody anything. Now, people can learn. Maybe I can say stuff and they can choose to learn, or maybe I say things and people go, "Whoa, hold on, that actually resonates with something that was already inside of me, and I just didn't know how to articulate it." So I can do that, but changing people's minds, transforming people, I won't even put that on myself. And then I guess one other thing too is, even though I don't seem that funny right now, when I do stand up comedy, I'm pretty funny for the most part. Or at least I say funny stuff. And this dark season has really showed me the value of laughter and comedy and relaxing and different things like that. And I'm so grateful for that as well because I don't think if it wasn't for laughter, I think I'd be a super angry person. But knowing the alchemical process of tragedy plus time equaling comedy has really done a number in my soul because I realized like some of the most painful things I've experienced, I realized that they've also opened my heart up to be able to have like laughter and mirth or whatever you call it. So it's a lot of things that I've been learning. Hi, A Miles, I think is Alexis. I've been learning so many things by this darkness. And so there's this one I heard in a song, I don't know if it's a saying, but it said, "Blessed be the darkness for letting the light through." And that's where I am right now. It's like so much darkness has really helped me to look for the light, to when I see it, to go toward it, and to not give my own inner light to places that don't desire it. And so being able to refine the way I show up in the world has been a really, really beautiful gift for this season. So that's pretty much where I am right now. I feel like there are so many gifts in this season that we miss. And even though I've decided that I'm not a teacher and that I can't really teach anybody anything, I can shine my light. And that's what I'll do. I'm going to shine my light. And if there's seeds that have been planted and watered in my vicinity, then maybe they will blossom and grow if I shine my light. So that's what I'll be focusing on. And then some of the other stuff, I just really have to let it go because what else can I do? People are going to still be bombing things. People are going to still be lying, stealing, being PDF files, all these things. And another thing, I guess, as I continue to ramble, as I'm about to let y'all go, I've also really been able to accept that I have never in my entire 50 billion years of being alive, I've never seen a world different than what I'm seeing right now. My entire life is growing up as a black man in America. I've only seen what we're seeing now. It's just that now more people see it. But I've always seen corrupt people lying. I've always seen white supremacy. I've always seen people committing crimes and getting away with it while projecting criminality on other people. I've always seen rich people taking advantage of poor people. I've always seen men being patriarchal, weakling bastards and treating women like crap. I've always seen all of these things. Since I came into the world, I've seen it. That's it. That's all I've ever seen. The only thing that I can say has changed in my entire lifetime has been myself. That I've gone from a fundamentalist right wing Republican because that's how I was raised to now I'm a unity minister, talking about oneness and all this other stuff like that in my lifetime. And I got to be grateful for that too. And none of it is because I chose it. None of it is I pursued it. It was get out of our church. You ain't a real Christian. How dare you say Jesus isn't white? Get out of our church. How dare you say can we please stop judging LGBTQ people? Get out of our church because it was just this. Like people telling me I wasn't a real Christian. Then I tried to become a Unitarian Universalist, but then they told me I talked about Jesus too much. I got pushed out of these spaces. I never pursued anything at all. I've never pursued anything. And the only jobs I ever actually wanted in life was being a hairstylist, a bartender, a barber, a dude that cuts down trees, and stuff like that. I never really wanted any kind of like pursuit where I was like speaking and doing all this other stuff that I've been doing over the years. It's all been falling into shit. It's like, oh, guess I'm doing this, guess I'm doing that, guess I'm doing this, guess I'm doing. That's been my whole life, and following breadcrumbs of truth because deep in my heart, I've just wanted to live the life of love, of light, and what I learned from the teachings of Christ by reading the red light letters. That's all I ever wanted. And to just be like a child, honestly, that's all I ever wanted. And then I just ran into a bunch of crap out of the way, and people told me, get out, get out, get out, until I found myself where I am now. That's been my life, and it's always been all the same crap. And people who are even harmed by these systems of oppression have been the perpetrators of this. Like the biggest white supremacists that I knew in my life unconsciously were black Christians, because that's where I was when I first got kicked out. But they were getting mad at me for saying stuff on behalf of black people. Black people getting mad at me and kicking me to the curb because I was saying stuff that I got from some people from the Nation of Islam. But either way, they got mad and didn't want to hear that stuff. And so they kicked me out. And so even in like my Latino family, because obviously, as you can see my name, they always were pushing them some white supremacy crap too. So I can't even blame like white people in general. Like, yes, they started this shit. I ain't gonna act like it didn't happen. But I'm saying that the system is so filled with all of this ignorance that is the only world I've ever known, and all kinds of people. Yep, internalized oppression. You're right. It's all I've seen, and I've just tried not to be a part of it, and then just encountered it. That's just been where it's been. And like you can look right now, like you see how many black and brown ICE agents there are. That's the world I've always known. That they're the people who perpetuate and participate in their own oppression and just go along with it. It's the big groups, the poor whites. I grew up among. I'm telling y'all, if you watch my life, you would be like, how is this dude even able to make sentences? I was raised by Latinos, poor black people, poor white people, all mixed together, swirling back and forth, throwing in a little bit of Nation of Islam and fundamentalist Republican 700 Club, focus on the family, dispensationalism, B crap or bull crap, all jumbled together. But all I really pursued, just like I'm still wearing my WWJD bracelet now, even though I'm not in a normal Christian church, all I've ever pursued is trying to live, love, life, laughter, that sort of thing. And then all of these systems kept pushing me out, pushing me out, pushing me out until I found myself where I am now. That's it. I haven't that's been my plan, is pursuing love and light. And it hasn't stopped. And even when I'm angry, sad, depressed, or whatever the case may be, that same light is still trying to break out of me. And I don't know what to say about it. I don't know if it's life. I don't know what it is. All I know is it keeps coming out, and the darkness keeps pushing me out. Actually, as I say this, I'm thinking about a seed that's planted in the earth, and it's in the darkness. It's covered up in darkness until the light calls it out of the darkness, and then it breaks forth as a tree or a plant and then bears fruit. I guess that's my life. I guess I was a seed planted in darkness reaching for the light, and hopefully I'm sprouting Um, if that's my calling, I don't even know what my calling is, honestly. I just want to be, and I want to be with people who want to be, and we can be together. So, anyway, thank you for being present with this conversation. I feel like I'm connected to the people that are up here now in my soul, and the people who will be here later, and maybe even the people who might come across this sometime in the future. I feel like I'm connected to all of y'all, and even the people who don't like me or against me, or like one of my former parishioners told me, I'm the reason for division in the world. Um, I feel like, hey, you know what? I'm working with all of us to learn, to grow, and to expand, and to not deny what's been showing up for me. I'm not going to be pretending like I don't see things that I see. I'm not going to act like things are better than they are. I'm not going to say that they can't get better, but I'm not going to pretend like they are, because denial, even though it's a very potent survival instinct, it doesn't do anything. Just like the ostrich puts their head in the sand, denying that a lion is ready to chew their ass off. They cannot see it, but they still gonna get that ass eaten up. That's how it goes. And many of us have made that choice. I'm not one to make that choice. So I'm just going to let the lions eat a bunch of people's asses while I, while I get away and go towards living life with more people who are willing to kind of pay attention, live from consciousness, and try to create greater possibilities. I am hoping to be increasingly more discerning, and I'm very much looking forward to getting rid of almost everybody in my life who sucks, and enjoying my life with people that are awesome. And I'm very grateful to the darkness of this time of showing me who is about that darkness and who's about that light. And no offense to anybody, I hope if you love darkness and that's what you like to be in, just be in it and enjoy it. And hopefully we just won't ever be in each other's lives, and I'll never hear about you. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just like, it really is like, I just want to enjoy life, and there's people who want to destroy life, and joy and destroy just cannot couple. And so that's basically where I am. So thank you for the darkness, for letting the light through. I will continue to pursue this. I'll continue to focus on the things that make for love, life, light, and growth. And I'll continue to just put out stuff with no attachment. If it does something for you, whoop de doo, I'm glad for you. If it doesn't, you know what to do. And I don't know, have fun out there. I love whoever's up here. I can know Alexis is up here, so I love her, unless this is a different A Miles. But if it isn't, I love you. And the other people that are up here who I can't see, I love you too. And I even love the super dummies, but I just don't have time for you. So hopefully this serves you. Take care. Thanks for being here. Peace.